I spent my entire childhood being told I wasn't wanted, then got lectured about family loyalty as an adult. Being 5 years old and losing your mother creates a vulnerability that makes you desperately hope for connection and belonging. When my dad married Ellen, a widow with 5 children, I thought I was finally getting the family I'd been missing since my mom abandoned me at 3 years old. Ellen brought 4 older children in their late teens to 20s, plus Marcus, who was 7 and closest to my age. As an only child who'd been craving siblings and maternal love, I imagined this blended family would fill all the empty spaces in my young life. Reality crushed those dreams immediately and systematically. Ellen showed no interest in becoming any kind of mother figure to me, treating me more like an inconvenient houseguest than her new husband's son. Her children made their feelings about my presence crystal clear from day one. Marcus, who should have been my closest companion as the only other young child, wanted absolutely nothing to do with me. Every attempt I made to play together, share toys, or simply spend time was met with him physically moving away, telling me bluntly to go away. When I tried talking to him, he'd ignore me completely or refuse to respond, creating an atmosphere of constant rejection in my own home. Kid who was supposed to be my new brother treated me like I was invisible or worse, actively unwanted. Ellen's older children turned exclusion into an art form whenever they visited. They'd arrive with toys, candy, and special treats exclusively for Marcus, making elaborate plans for movies and McDonald's trips that pointedly excluded me. The few times my dad suggested they include me, their responses were brutal and direct. "He's not our brother," they'd say without hesitation. "That means he can't come and he better not get upset about it or we'll be asked again." These weren't accidental oversights or simple preference differences. This was deliberate, systematic exclusion designed to remind me constantly that I didn't belong. They enjoyed making sure I understood my place as an outsider in what was supposed to be my family. Christmas and holiday visits became exercises in emotional torture. I'd watch as Ellen's children lavished attention, gifts, and experiences on Marcus while treating me like furniture that happened to be in their way. They weren't just indifferent to my presence, they were actively resentful that I existed in their family dynamic. My dad would try to compensate with extra spending or attention, but material things couldn't heal the psychological damage of being rejected daily by the people who were supposed to love and accept me. You can't buy your way out of making a child feel fundamentally unwanted. The comments I overheard were perhaps the most devastating part. Ellen's children would openly discuss how much better everything was without me ruining their family time, and they'd fantasize about how perfect things would be if my dad wasn't around either. Living with people who viewed your very existence as a problem creates a kind of psychological damage that follows you into adulthood. I was miserable, had no extended family for support, and learned early that survival meant emotional self-protection. I began avoiding family celebrations whenever possible, and focused entirely on planning my escape. The moment I turned 18, I started couch surfing with friends, choosing temporary housing instability over the guaranteed emotional instability of staying in that toxic environment. For 2 years now, I've maintained minimal contact with my dad while building a life free from people who spent 15 years making me feel unwanted. When he recently invited me to a family dinner with Ellen, her children, and extended family, I declined definitively. "They're not my family," told him honestly. "I wouldn't be welcome, so I won't be going." His response revealed how little he understood the damage his choices had caused. He insisted we were family despite not getting along, as if the problem was simple personality conflicts rather than systematic rejection and emotional abuse. I reminded him that he made the choice to stay in a marriage where his son was rejected and ostracized daily. He chose to prioritize his relationship with Ellen over protecting me from her children's cruelty. When he claimed he'd made sure I didn't miss out on stuff, I had to explain that being rejected and ostracized in your own home isn't compensated by a few material things. Can't buy your way out of psychological damage or replace emotional security with presence. Now he's calling me unfair for refusing to pretend we're something we never were. But I spent my entire childhood being told explicitly that I wasn't wanted, and I'm not going to spend my adulthood pretending those 15 years didn't happen. Some relationships can't be forced, especially when they were built on a foundation of rejection and resentment that was never addressed or corrected.